Hey everyone, TimaeuSS here, and welcome to another NIKKE video. So it's been a while, this is long overdue, but finally here is the PvE updated tier list for post-bunny patches. Okay, so we've got Noir and Blanc, of course, and it's about time when we did a PvE tier list and take a look at what our English global community has cooked up versus CN community. This is the PvE one. I'll do another PvP one, as well as a skill point upgrade recommendations video. But as always, full disclaimer, you know, I'm a bit washed up, so all of these things are my own opinions. I may not necessarily agree with the tier list, but just giving my own thoughts. And this video is brought to you by Scarlet. As you know, we ranked #1 in this union raid, right at the very top. And we're also looking for new recruits, as always, in either the main guild or the sister guild, which is Scarlet Z with the Z after. Okay, so if you're interested, you can DM me on Discord. If you're sync level 280 plus or 300, reach out to us. Okay. So let's take a look at the tier list now. We have the global one from Pridewind, and of course the CN one, which I could find is the PvE tier list. And we'll go over why some of the top tier units are just that strong. So Dorothy as a new addition. Okay, we'll talk about, of course, the newcomers, most importantly. Dorothy as a new addition is so damn good. She is super strong. Not only does she have the best event in the game, as a pilgrim, she is definitely one of the top tier burst 1 units. Now, Litter is still right at the top with her, and Dorothy just did get a slight adjustment in which the parts from, I believe, was a skill 1 and no longer apply to everyone. Before it was, I mean, the skill description is that only applied to parts, right? But the damage increase was applying to everything, so that's fixed now. However, she got a buff, or rather another fix, in which the overload gear attack stats now applies to Dorothy's skills. So this, a nerf and a fix, which was a buff, still cements her at the very top of the tier, so SSS. So you can see that as a tier 0 in the CN list as well, but we'll go back to that later. Litter still at the very top, of course, no surprise there. For burst 2s, we now have Blanc. Okay, Blanc is, honestly, I would feel almost like a power creep. A non-limited unit that you can put on the wish list. Okay, a dual banner that works really, really well with Noir. She does so much. She has heals. She has damage increase for basically damage taken by the target as a burst skill, same as Noir. But instead of relying on a stack or applying to one enemy, it is across all enemies, right? You've also got, you know, the indomitability. So Blanc, there's so much in her kit. It does a lot. And of course, with Guilty, the Liberation unit as a the B2 at the top as well, and Noir, who was basically post skill fix, the damage increase made her shoot straight up to tier 1. So those are all the top tier burst 2 units. But Blanc, I mean, I still keep going back to it. Blanc and Noir being added, we used them extensively in this union raid. They were really, really strong. Like, we were so shocked at how good they were. So yeah, they're straight at the top. We use them a lot, and of course in solo raid that will be the case as well. They're definitely going to be part of the meta teams. Now if you take a look at the CN one, they actually put the combo at tier 1, not at the tier 0 or tier 0.5. So CN in this tier list, they don't seem to think this is as broken, but I can tell from the top tier gameplays, Blanc and Noir are just absolutely strong, right? And looking into some other differences, Guilty is not tier 0, tier 0.5 is tier 1, which I do agree with. But what I don't think is happening is Heron at tier 1. After Modernia and all the other burst 3s, Heron is no longer a tier 1 unit. She's still very strong, but just unfortunately compared to everything else, not tier 1. So looking at the other remaining tier SSS, for burst, of course, Alice, that's straight at the top. You need to understand, for Alice, you need to manual, so you can look at WMS's guide on Alice's animation cancelling. If you can do that, and if you invested Alice in like 4-10-4 in terms of skill upgrade, Alice will be insane, out damaging all the pilgrims pretty much. if you have a built Maxwell to go along with Alice. So super good. Modernia, our first pilgrim banner, of course, sitting at T0, and the other pilgrims, Scarlet and Snow White, joining her in SSS tier, and Noir, again, the newcomer, sitting in a combo, okay, with Blanc as a support B3. Extremely good. So these two, I mean, I can't stress, I have to say it again, these two combos are just absolutely broken. So if you didn't pull for them because you're saving for collab with summer events, wishlist them as soon as possible. Save your modes so that you can try and luck sack them again. A lot of the free-to-play users use them to clear Nihilister, use them to clear train and all that stuff as well. So just make sure that I mean, it's also free grave digger as well, so make sure that you get them now or later. So looking at the SS tier, again, we're going over the newcomers, right? SS tier, from the season tier list, that there are no newcomers in the tier 1. We talked about the combo already, but I think they're at least tier 0.5, if not tier 0 when used together. The lower tiers, there have Sakura added as well as a utility, Power, Lapchan. These two, they did see some play, but in union raid, if it's 3 teams, they don't really see anything, but in solo raid, they will. And Nihilister as a T2, which Nihilister who is what I have to say to that. So for the CN ones, I don't necessarily agree with what's listed here. So let's take a look at what we have in the SS tier. So Miranda is a support enabler for SS tier. I agree with. Noise is bugged at the moment against Train. The taunt timing is off. So if you're struggling with Train, you were full clearing it before. Now you know the reason why. Pepper was the OG healer before you ran the Blanc and the Noir combo in Team 3. So, you know what? In Union Raid, I think we'll still... Solo Raid will still see him play because it's 5 teams, right? So Pepper should still be up there. Maybe not SS anymore because she got slightly power crept. I'll put in S. Senti... I mean, these 3 were the OG goats, right? The original Burst 2 goats. Senti for defensive purposes, Rupee for offensive purposes, Dollar for all-around. Burst 2 cooldown reduction. So those 3 were the OG goats. Now, new additions to the team in Burst 3 in the SS tier D, allowing you to burst super early. Even though D was a bit more hyped on her release and came out as a Modernia answer, in this Union Raid there was no Modernia. And she didn't see much play, but for sure D, I personally like her very much. SS tier, I love the D. I mean, I love D as a unit, so SS tier I do agree with. Everything else pretty standard here, right? I would personally add Helm, because Helm as our first rated banner unit, I think deserves a lot of love. She does actually so much. She was in one of the early teams that cleared Nihilister when the boss just came out. She's used extensively in solo raid and as well as Union raid, because support B3 is a very good slot to have right now, because you want to use obviously the top tier burst 2s, and sometimes your burst 1s, you know, having those 2 is set for team 1 and team 2, and if you have another one that may force you to run an additional burst 1, having a support burst 3 to help with the healing aspect is very important. I'm surprised also in SS tier, Rapunzel is not there. If Pepper is in SS tier, Rapunzel 100% should be in there because of the sustain she provides. Because right now you have your 3 teams set in terms of sustain, right? Helm provides that one team, Rapunzel provides the other team, and of course Blanc, the new addition, well, is the 3rd team. So yeah, surprised she's not there, but again, it's all opinions. Let me know your thoughts down below as well. For the rest, you know what? The one thing I do have to call out, okay, in the S tier, the one unit I do have to call out is Ludmilla. She was deemed as, you know, S tier on release, but it turns out she wasn't that great. Her skills, you know, was not working properly. But after the release of Sakura and units like Biscuit, okay, Ludmilla is 100% S tier, because the taunt that activates just during having her, like, she doesn't have to do the burst herself exactly, but that damage reduction and the taunt, it just does so much. And coupled with either the indomitability or coupled with damage reduction, which is additive from Sakura, she can take basically 1 damage from any attack, right? Train does 1 damage to her. So I'm very happy to see a little bit here. Everyone else, Winter Rupee went up in rating because they made it so that the burst is now instant. Remember, we all pulled for Winter Rupee, and then you do S1 and do S1 again, and it was not instant. So they fixed that, but still her problem lies in the sense that she taunts and she dies, right? If she had significant damage reduction, I mean, he honestly can give her invulnerability and it would not change her that much. She'll just go up at 1 tier, she will not be broken. So I think as a winter limited unit, you can make her a bit stronger. A lot stronger, I would say. Totally not because I've regret pulling a max limit break of her instead of Anne, Christmas Anne, but it is what it is. So not bad. New additions here, we've got Viper, Biscuit. Biscuit is pretty damn decent. And for the S tiers, we've got the Power, which did see some playing solo raid, and the Vesti post fix. So this is the tier list. I do tend to agree a bit more with Pride Wound 1 instead of the CN one, but for me, if I would have to add things, I would put the Rapunzel in here, Helm here in the SS tier for sure. And this is ranked against Boss Solo, which is more based on Union raid, right? But anyhow, that is the current update and rating. And let me know your thoughts on the PvE tier list. We'll do a PvP one later on and take a look at the skill recommendations. So until then, it's TimaeuSS here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye now.